Welcome to another episode of OG55. I am joined by the one, the only, Mr. SamChat. He's in the house. We're talking all about Josh D'Amaro. Looks like he's taking the lead in the CEO race. What do we think about that? We're going to talk about the Disney movie slate for 2026. And we're also going to talk about a lot of other stuff. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down up next here on OG55. We got SamChat in the house. Let's get it. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. We have a stacked show for you all today. We have a lot of great stuff. We're talking film side, we're talking corporate side, and wherever else the conversation may take us. But before we do, I want to introduce my good friend, Mr. SamChat. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, OG, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me back on. I always love chatting with you. And yeah, you and I were both representing the West Coast.
Oh, dude, all day, every day. Oh, man, you caught me off guard. Hold on. You said West Coast. Hi. There we go. Absolutely. So where can everybody find you on social media, Sam?
You can find me at SamChat21 on X, formerly known as Twitter. And you can also find me at SamChat Productions, all lowercase, no spaces, on Instagram.
There he is, Mr. West Coast.
Hi, Monster on the beat, ho.
There we go. All right, let's go. Well, speaking of the West Coast, we got Mr. Josh D'Amaro from the West Coast, all the way in Burbank. Josh D'Amaro, leading replacement race for Disney CEO. This is courtesy of wdwinfo.com. It says here, it's no secret the Walt Disney Company is headed towards a major leadership change in 2026. According to a new report from Bloomberg, the race to succeed CEO Bob Iger is narrowing fast. The next CEO may already be within the company, and all eyes are now on Josh D'Amaro, the current chairman of Disney Experiences, as the leading candidate to take the reins. Now, it's interesting. Josh, I've been very critical of Josh D'Amaro. For his handling of the Experiences division. I've said it a few times here on the channel where I didn't feel like he was really we didn't really get a whole lot of announcements from Josh for the Experiences until he became a serious contender for CEO. Then all of a sudden, like, really ramped up or turbocharged. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. For me, I'm just kind of naturally very skeptical of that because I feel like it kind of feels a little bit of like corporate opportunism, a little bit. But now here's the thing. I will give the guy a fair shake. If he becomes CEO, Sam, and this guy hits a home run and we're getting all kinds of crazy investments still in the theme parks and he's doing great stuff with the studio side, I will be the first one on this channel on camera to say, you know what, I was wrong. I hope I am wrong because I really want him to thrive in this role because I want Disney to do great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary. And I would be lying if I said I didn't have reservations, and no, that wasn't a Disney Parks joke, but reservations about, you know what I'm saying? I would be lying if I said I didn't have concerns about him taking this position. But what do you think, Sam? I mean, does this surprise you, or where do you stand with it?
Yeah, this is pretty big stuff, man. It's a very exciting yet scary time to be a Disney fan. I still think having Dana Wallen and Josh D'Amaro be co-CEOs would still be the best option, in my opinion, if they wanted to choose internally. The main reason I say that is because Josh D'Amaro doesn't have a lot of Hollywood experience. I don't think he has any Hollywood experience, if I remember correctly. But I just think it's good to have someone at the CEO level or the president level who has a lot of Hollywood experience. So that's really the only thing that kind of worries me about Josh D'Amaro is yeah, sure, he could just let the studios self-manage themselves. But then what happens when a situation arises where the CEO has to step in, on the movie side,
No, it's a great point, Sam. That's my big concern too, right? Is the studio side, and if we were living in different times where the studios weren't going through a seismic shift. I mean, things are changing and changing fast. We have streaming, which is still changing the entire landscape for the studios, and we have AI now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, AI is is revolutionizing Hollywood, and it poses a lot of great opportunities for Hollywood, but also a massive. It's probably the biggest risk for the studios as well, and the biggest threat to the studios because I mean, this could really, really torpedo creatives, like in terms of jobs and all that stuff. AI can replace a lot of people potentially if this is not checked a little bit. I mean, I think there has to be a little bit of a balance there, but it's very interesting. Now, here, look, I also want to be fair to Josh, right? We've had people that have come into this role as CEO with no experience in certain things and have crushed said things despite having no experience, right? So we had Michael Eisner come in, right, in like the mid 80s, and this guy was the GOAT when it came to the parks, at least for the first 10 years. We got crazy good stuff with like Star Tours and Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Oh my God. Disneyland Paris even.
Disneyland Paris, which is a gorgeous park. Tony Baxter's park. I love that.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And there's so much good stuff that happened for the parks under Michael Eisner, who worked at Paramount. He wasn't a parks guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Also, on a smaller kind of scale, we had the one and only Mr. Tom Staggs, who was the chief financial officer of the Walt Disney Company for years. This guy was the head accountant for Disney. Now, on paper, you would look at that guy's resume and go, I don't want him anywhere near these parks. This guy's a money dude. He's gonna nickel and dime these things, right? And actually, he did pretty good running the parks.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but here's the thing I want to talk to you, Sam. I mean, because this is actually the big elephant in the room, right? We recently had a situation, to say the least, with Jimmy Kimmel, right? The Jimmy Kimmel situation, and Dana Walden was very much connected to that whole mess, right? This was reported by the Hollywood Trades that Dana Walden and Bob Iger decided they were going to fire, or not even, I shouldn't say fire. It was a temporary suspension indefinitely, right? But that whole thing was on Walden and Iger's watch, right? Walden already has had a few things with, remember the Trump debate and all that, and then I think they had to pay Trump like millions of dollars and all this stuff. She's had a few black eyes when it comes to her division.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's her? Do you think this has hurt her in this race?
I do think it has hurt her. I don't know if you watched Game of Thrones. Have you seen Game of Thrones?
I have. It's been a few years. I was late to the party, but I binge watched all 8 seasons in like 3 or 4 weeks. But go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why I bring that up is because this whole situation with Dana Walden and Jimmy Kimmel sort of feels like what happened with Robb Stark in Game of Thrones. Because like he was like a fearless warrior. He won every battle, but then that one mistake, he didn't marry Walder Frey's daughter. Instead, he married, I think her name was Talissa. And then that cost him everything, right?
Right.
So I don't know. This feels a lot like that. Like, I think this did hurt her chances quite a bit, to be honest. Zach from Boardwalk Times, he put out a really good tweet talking about like the things that Dana Walden could do to sort of win back the public. And one of those things that he said was to make like a big deal, like some big deal. Unless she does that, I don't think it's likely that she would be a co-CEO with Josh D'Amaro. But, actually, Josh D'Amaro has grown on me quite a bit in the last year. And I know you'll probably disagree, but I feel like from a PR perspective, he's been better. He's doing a better job running his division than Dana Walden has run hers. And I don't know. I feel like Disney's PR, to put it lightly, hasn't been great in these last few years. So I feel like Disney could really benefit from having a CEO at the top who like really knows how to run, Disney exceptionally from a PR level. And I think Josh can do that well. I have faith that he would be able to do that. But no, I think this did hurt Dana Walden's chances of being the next CEO quite a bit.
I completely agree with that. I think it's hurt her a lot. She was already going into the Jimmy Kimmel thing with not a whole lot of momentum. So she didn't have a whole lot of momentum going into this situation. And then, people in Hollywood largely opposed the suspension. You know, the industry and their peers didn't really like it. And the fact that her name was tied to that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's rough.
It was a big PR mess.
It was, you know, it was
It was.
suspension, and then they backpedaled it, and then it was all over the place, you know. And I think a lot of people in Hollywood looked at that and went, I don't know, you know. And it's interesting though, because you know, she used to work at Fox. That's how Disney has her working for the company now, is because when they acquired Fox, they inherited Dana Walden. And at Fox, Dana was exceptional. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she was a great executive and very, I mean, I've been very positive about her, you know, this whole time. I've always thought she was a brilliant woman. I think
so have I.
Right? I mean, I mean, you know, she's definitely capable, but what happened with Disney though, you think, Sam? Why has she kind of, as the kids say, fumbled the bag? Why has she fumbled so much when she, like, I feel like she's fumbling more at Disney than at Fox. Is it possible that maybe there's like a Bob Iger like meddling involved or something? Yeah, go ahead.
That could be.
Elaborate.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, I remember like I can't remember where I read this. I think it was CNBC, but like from my understanding, Iger actually called Dana Walden the day the Fox acquisition was announced, and he told her that he wanted her to go work at Disney. So like maybe it was something with maybe there is an Iger factor here, because you know, like when Michael Eisner was CEO and Bob Iger was president and chief operations officer, right? Like Disney was very different back then, and yeah, Disney was very different back then. But then once Michael Eisner left, and Bob Iger became the CEO, you know, a lot of people were worried that, you know, he was basically just going to be like Michael Eisner 2.0, you know. But then he like, once Eisner was gone, like he sort of became a very different executive, right? He ran the company very differently than how Eisner ran. So maybe that is a factor. Maybe if Dana Walden is at the top, maybe things will be smoother than they will be if Iger's not there. I don't know. Maybe there is an Iger factor. I'm not too sure, but it is definitely a very strong point to make here. You know, there's always a higher up, right?
There's always a higher up, and I feel like with the studio side, and this is the thing with the studio side, because Bob Iger and our good friend Jay Shear, contributor here on the channel, Jay Shear, host of our Story Geek show, amazing dude. He made a great point in the group text where he said that Bob Iger right now is in legacy mode. He's trying to secure his legacy. And then, but here's the thing though, the things that Bob Iger has to do to secure his legacy might not always be what's best for Disney. You know what I'm saying? And so these things don't always, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and that's a problem, right? Because he's looking at more like his legacy, and Disney needs something else. And the studio end of the equation is more where the legacy building is going to be, because that's going to be where his reputation lies amongst the industry and his peers. Yeah. So he might, that in and of itself might be a reason why Bob Iger is meddling more with the studio and the TV and all the stuff that Dana's involved in, is because it is more connected to his legacy. The park stuff is very separate from Hollywood. So he might be letting Josh kind of do his own thing, which is great for Josh, you know, because Josh can manage his stuff and not have to have the meddling as much. Iger, and again, we're speculating. I don't want to like put this on Bob like Iger, like he's doing it for sure, because we don't know, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's a possibility. I'm just kind of throwing that theory out there. So it's crazy, but you don't think that she'll be the co-CEO? You think they'll?
Unfortunately, I do not. It's not impossible. You know, I could always be wrong. Maybe in like a year, she will end up being the co-CEO. But I think the chances of that happening are pretty low. But if Dana Walden does end up becoming the co-CEO, I hope we end up getting a co-CEO or even like a president. Maybe they reinstate the president of the Walt Disney Company position that Frank Wells had.
Yep.
I just hope there's someone at the top who just understands the Hollywood movie industry, you know?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I've said it before, Sam. I'll say it again. It bears repeating. This is a studio first. You know, the studio is like the heartbeat of the entire machine. And if you're not making good movies, you're not creating new IP, you don't have anything to feed the parks, the cruise lines, especially in this new age where the IP is pretty much everything.
But actually, I think it's a very strong argument to be made that there may come a day, I don't know if that day is already here or not, but there may come a day where Disney's video game division will be just as equally as important as Disney's movie division, because like Josh D'Amaro is currently overseeing that Fortnite Disney, business deal. And I mean, so many people spend so many hours gaming, right? Like it's crazy how much time people spend gaming. And I think Kevin Feige actually said this. I think Kevin Feige said this last year at D23 Expo, but he was sharing with the audience that like a lot of the younger generation learn about new Marvel characters through the video games, not the movies, but the video games. And I think he is true about that, because I remember playing Lego Marvel superheroes as a kid, and I was like, that's where I was really introduced to like the Fantastic Four, like the X-Men characters, and even like Ant-Man. And I remember the announcement of Ant-Man in 2015. I remember thinking, oh wait, he was in the Marvel video game. So I think he is very right about that. I think the video game division is becoming very important to Disney. So who knows, maybe that'll save him, and maybe that'll convince the board to give him the CEO job and by himself.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. That's a great point. You're right, because a lot of times we do forget the experiences division includes products.
Yeah.
And he's involved in the gaming stuff, and the gaming is very much like the bridge between, like what he does with the experiences and the studio side. It's that kind of that middle segue bridge, whatever. So his experience with that, and also our good friend Alia. I don't know if you remember Alia Aloha. She's amazing.
Yeah, I remember her.
Brilliant woman. We love Alia here on OG55. I've got to get her back on. But she texted me about how, Josh has been meeting regularly with all the Hollywood executives. I'm assuming Kathleen Kennedy, Kevin Feige, all of them, Bergman, everybody. So he's in the trenches with the studio folks and stuff like that. So he's learning, he's kind of doing his thing. Now, here's the thing. One of the issues we have with Bob Chapek, you all remember Bob, right?
Apologize for not being the ally that you needed me to be.
There we go, Sam. I was able.
Nice, he did it.
I wove it in. That
awesome.
Is Sam's favorite drop, right?
Yep, that's my favorite drop. It's pretty funny.
It's great. I love it. But like one of the issues, or one of the Achilles heel of Bob Chapek was, he did not know how to foster Hollywood relationships, and Hollywood is very mean girls, right? It's very much like you can't sit with us kind of thing. So that kind of energy, right? So if you're not in that circle, in that club, it's tough. It's real tough. And he never could break through. He didn't have that charisma. One thing that Josh even when he grew the beard, it didn't help, right?
No, it didn't.
I mean, but he tried. I give him credit for that. He tried.
At least he tried.
He did try, but I just feel like with Josh, though, he doesn't have that problem. Josh is a
absolutely
very likable guy.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but even like the chief creative officers at the D23 Parks Beyond 2024, like Jennifer Lee, Pete Docter, Dave Filoni, Kevin Feige, they were on stage with them. Yeah. And I even remember like in 2022, like Kevin Feige was on the D23 Parks panel, and it looked like it seemed from that like presentation when Kevin Feige was talking to Josh D'Amaro, it seems like they have a good relationship. I don't know, maybe it's like, of course I'm speculating, but like it seems like he has a much better relationship with the creatives than Chapek did.
That's great news. And like I said, I will always be forthright with my opinions on stuff. If I'm critical of Josh, it's because I have concerns. But I'll say this: if he gets that CO spot, and it's looking like he is, as of right now at least, and he gets in there and he crushes it, he hits a home run, and he's doing all kinds of great stuff, and he's continuing the momentum with the expansion of the parks, and yeah, I'll be happy. I just want him to do well. You know what I'm saying? I just want to believe that he's going to continue this, and it's not just a dog and pony show to get the job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I also just hope too he's not going to be another Bob Iger yes man.
Yeah, there you go. I love it.
I always have my book with me.
I love it. Yeah, get your copy today. Plug the book. I actually have that. I have that book too. Thanks to our good friend Kiki and Luca, who was kind enough to send that over to me. I appreciate that, Kiki and Luca. But yeah, so we'll see we'll see what happens actually with this CO race. It's coming down to the wire now. I believe they're going to announce it officially in early 2026. So probably by the springtime-ish, before summer, we'll probably know.
Yeah, because Michael Eisner, he he announced the CEO. I believe the exact date was March 13th, 2005. Yeah. I hope I'm remembering that correctly. That was the date that was announced that Bob Iger would take over. And then he left in October 1st, I think it was, of 2005. I'm not sure if that's the correct date. I'm almost certain.
I think you're pretty close. If it's not exact, it's pretty close.
Yeah, so that was like, what, March, October? That was like 7 months. And his contract expires in December. So I believe, like, yeah, around springtime is when we'll probably hear.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna have a lot to discuss when that day comes for sure. We'll have you back on for that. Absolutely, Sam. Absolutely. But we have a lot more to talk about today, though, and we're talking about the movies. Okay, this is interesting. This is courtesy of GamesRadar.com. It says here the new Disney movies release dates of every upcoming Disney movie in 2025 and beyond. Okay, so now we do have Tron Ares and we have Avatar. That looks really sick, by the way. Dang,
yeah, I am so pumped for Tron. I've always been such a huge Tron fan. I've always loved the first 2 Tron movies, so I am so pumped for Tron Ares.
The visuals on this thing are crazy, right? So
yeah,
now we have Tron Ares, we have Avatar. Now, when does Tron come out? Is that
I think this Friday.
This Friday.
At the time of this recording, this Friday.
Oh yeah, it's right here, October 10th. Perfect. So we have Tron and we have Avatar 3. So Disney has had a pretty rough patch with the box office this year, right? It hasn't been like the greatest. I know Lilo and Stitch actually crushed it. That was $1 billion film, which is wild to me. But
Snow White flopped.
Oh, that like belly flopped so loud. I mean, that was horrible. You know,
I rewatched them. I watched that movie for the first time like 2 weeks ago. I think that might officially be my least favorite remake.
Oh yeah,
I remember thinking, oh, that Pinocchio remake, that was so bad. But we've hit rock bottom. They can't get worse than this, right? Wrong.
Yeah, they hit rock bottom, and then they just kept. Then they started digging.
They started digging
to get even further underneath the rock bottom, right?
Yep.
Which is really sad because I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for this because I know it's not the popular opinion, but as a person, I actually really like Rachel Zegler. I think she's pretty. I think I like her. I think she's got good energy. I actually really loved her in West Side Story.
That was a great movie.
Great movie, and she was so good in that beautiful voice. I like her. But yes, Snow White would look like a hot mess. I never saw it, but I'll take your word on it, Sam. I'll take your word on it. but do you think that with Tron Ares and Avatar, that Disney can kind of, is this going to be the comeback kid story for Disney?
Think Avatar 3, yes. I think that'll absolutely be the comeback kid. I mean, the first 2 Avatar movies made $2 billion plus, like a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Oh yeah, a lot of money.
Oh wait, you know what? I know why you keep saying money. I know why you keep saying money. Hold on.
Give me the drop some money, dropping on my money, drop some money.
And I actually didn't realize it until after I said money. I was like, oh wait, I said the M word, money.
You said the M word, and when you say the M word here, we got 2 great money drops.
Brand new money, brand new hundreds, got a bunch of zeros like a bag of new Funyuns.
There we go. A lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Avatar bringing in the last 2 movies, bringing in $2 billion each. I mean, this one is probably going to do that, right?
I think, I'm assuming. I mean, yeah, I think it probably will. Tron, I'm not 100% sure because historically speaking, when you look at Tron's box office, the first Tron movie was a complete flop. If I remember correctly, it only made 10% of what Star Wars made in 1977. If I remember that correctly, it's always flopped. And from my understanding, Tron Legacy, like I think it was like $500 million is what it made at the box office. I hope I'm remembering that correctly. But like it's historically these films haven't performed like amazingly well. But I think that's going to change in like this day and era with AI, because one of the reasons why it flopped was because the original Tron was a movie that was so far ahead of its time, right? Like there was a movie about like AI and the internet, really cool stuff. But and like I think in this day and age with AI, I bet you Tron and Tron Legacy, those movies will age very well. So you never know. Maybe this movie will do really well in this day and age of AI. But Yeah,
We'll
I can't
see.
say for certain. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I think aesthetically, the Tron franchise is a chef's kiss,
Oh
100%.
yeah.
And this movie is no exception.
Hmm.
So it'll be very interesting to see how it is. The other wild card I think with Tron Ares is Jared Leto isn't like super likable.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the guy, but like a lot of people don't really care for him. So he might. I don't know if that would hurt the movie or not, but we'll kind of see, right?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
we'll see. Even the soundtrack in Tron is always great. I think the soundtrack in both movies are pretty great. I haven't listened to a song on the new soundtrack yet. I'm trying to keep it a surprise for when I see it in the theaters. But yeah, even like the soundtracks are always pretty great too.
No, 100%. Now we also have Zootopia 2 coming out in November of this year. Now this one I think is going to be a big hit. I don't know if it's going to be a
Mhm.
billion-dollar release, but I think it's going to get very close to that probably. And here's the thing, when it comes to animation, Sam, I think a lot of families, look, it's expensive to go to the theater, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to like new IP, like Elio and like the new stuff, even like Elemental to some degree, families are very like hesitant to spend $100 to take, mom and dad and then the 2 or 3 kids. It's expensive, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially when this stuff shows up on the streaming service in a couple months. So families are very hesitant and picky as to what animation they see in theaters. But with the sequels, though, we're seeing families go anyway. So
Yeah.
Inside Out 2 is a great example of that.
Yeah. That one made like $1 billion.
Huge, huge.
Yeah.
I think Zootopia 2 is going to have that kind of success or very close to it. But are you pretty bullish on this one?
Yeah, I think it'll do well. And it also too has that one actor in it, the actor who's voicing the snake, who's in Indiana Jones and Everything Everywhere All at Once. I can't remember his name. It's on the tip of my tongue, but do you know who I'm referring to?
I do, and I don't remember either. But yeah,
I think it's K. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but like he's a pretty he's a really beloved actor, so I'm sure that'll help this movie as well.
yeah.
But yeah,
We'll see.
I'm
So
pumped.
that's another movie. We have Zootopia, Tron, Ares, and Avatar. I think Zootopia and Avatar will definitely help Disney's year out for sure. Tron, Ares, like we were saying, it's a wild card. It's a big question mark.
Mhm.
It can kind of go either way. So we already talked about this. Fire and Ash, December. What is that? December 10th? No, 19th.
19th.
19th. Okay, so let's dip into 2026. Now we got Pixar's next movie, Hoppers. And it says here, I'm gonna kind of do a little bit of a read through with this because a lot of people might not be familiar with what this is. But Hoppers is an upcoming Pixar and Disney movie that is centered around a super cool premise. Basically, scientists have found a way to hop human consciousness into cute but super realistic robotic animals. The result is humanity finally discovering a way to communicate with the animal kingdom. Now, here's the thing. I just did a great video with Jay Shear and Jared from Capture the Magic. And we broke down and discussed a lot of this stuff. The video will be out very, very soon. You can check that out. But one of the secret sauces for films to be successful that we talked about in that video is curiosity and humanity. And what we mean by that is like one of the big selling points for Toy Story is we all had that curiosity in our head about what do our toys do when we leave the room, right? Everyone always wonders like stuff like that. And the emotions and the interactions between the characters is very relatable as a human being, right? So you have both
Yeah.
things, and I think it really just works, and that's the secret to that movie's success. Or a lot of movies have that same kind of dynamic, and it's very successful. With this movie, based on the premise, I think there is that curiosity factor there of like, if we could do this as human beings, how would that be? What would that look like?
Yeah.
So if they can just nail the relationship dynamics in this film and really pull on your heartstrings and make you laugh and stuff, this could be a big hit. We'll kind of see. Pixar has been really hit or miss with their box office successes lately. But what do you think?
Yeah.
Is this a possibility, or do you think it's
Yeah,
gonna be?
I think this looks promising. My only little concern about this is that, from my understanding, Toy Story 5 is going to be released in June or July. I can't remember if that's correct, but like Hoppers is going to be released in
June.
June, yeah. So Hoppers is going to be released 3 months before that. So I'm not sure if like Toy Story will sort of overshadow Hoppers' box office performance a bit, because some people might wait, oh, let's just go wait and see Toy Story. We know what Toy Story is. We're not sure what Hoppers is. You know what I'm saying? But you never know. I mean, from my understanding, Zootopia released in March of 2016 and Finding Dory released in June of 2016, excuse me, of that year. And both movies end up making $1 billion. So you never know. But yeah, no, this movie does look promising. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, it has potential. Absolutely. It absolutely has potential. And really cute character design too. So that's fantastic. Now we have Toy Story 5. Okay, Toy Story 5, June 19th. Here's the thing. The last Toy Story thing that we got was Lightyear, which did not do well, right? That movie, died a dog's death. But, and I'm sorry for that animal joke after we just had that cute animal story. That was probably not the best analogy. But
perfect timing.
Yeah, right, exactly. But Toy Story 5 though, here's the thing. This is a interesting kind of movie because a lot of people didn't love Toy Story 4. But Toy Story 5 could be that redemption.
I think so.
Right? It could, if this one really hits and this one really does the job, it might make Toy Story 4 not seem as bad, because now we're ending on an actual like positive note. So there's a lot of potential here. It's a Toy Story film, a proper Toy Story film. It's not like Lightyear. It's not a spin-off or a reimagining of any sorts. It's a proper Toy Story sequel. I am expecting this movie to do well. Like I said before, when it comes to the theatrical, families are definitely going to the sequels because it's a well-known IP, and you can't get more known really than the Toy Story franchise with Pixar, So I think this one will do well. I'm a little concerned. Hopefully they can hit it out the park creatively with the story and all that stuff, but we'll see. What say you, Sam? What do you think? Toy Story 5.
Yeah, so there are a lot of people online who are complaining about Toy Story 5, oh, we don't need another Toy Story 5, like a lot of people are complaining about it. A lot of people think that this is a terrible idea. I'm actually really excited for this one. I didn't feel the exact same way, but I kind of had a similar mindset, but that was until they announced who was writing and directing the movie, Andrew Stanton. And then I was like, okay, this movie will probably be pretty good because him, Pete Docter, Joe Ranft, and John Lasseter, those four gentlemen wrote the story for the first Toy Story movie, right? So all four of those guys are very influential in Pixar's history. I mean, obviously there have been a lot of people who've made Pixar successful aside from those four guys, but like those four gentlemen really put Pixar on the map, right? As far as like storytelling goes. And I feel like there's only one person who could really still keep writing and directing movies for Pixar, and it's probably him, right? Because Pete Docter is currently the chief creative officer of Pixar. So that probably makes it harder for him to write and direct more movies for Pixar. So, but yeah, I'm excited. I mean, Finding Nemo and WALL-E are probably two of the best Pixar movies ever made, if not two of the best animation movies ever made. So I would be shocked if this movie were bad. You know what I'm saying? But my biggest concern for this movie is how respectful is it going to be to the ending of Toy Story 3? Because Toy Story 3 has this beautiful send-off where Woody says farewell to Andy, right? He's driving away and he's like, so long, partner. And makes me emotional just thinking about it. But like Toy Story 4, I understand now everyone liked Toy Story 4, but it was still very, in my opinion, still very respectful of the Toy Story franchise. If it weren't respectful, Andy and Woody would have both been reunited in Toy Story 4. Like that would have made this movie not respectful at all to the past few Toy Story movies. I would not have liked that at all. So really, and of course, I'll always be open-minded, give everything a fair chance if that's the route they do end up going for Toy Story 5. But like my biggest concern is that they're going to reunite Woody and Andy in a way that sort of undoes like the emotional significance of Toy Story 3. Because that's exactly what happened with Mandalorian in Book of Boba Fett. They reunited Manuel and Grogu after they just had this beautiful send-off in season 2 where Luke Skywalker came in. They just undid. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. But yeah, that's how I basically feel about Toy Story 5.
No, you're right. You're right though, Sam. You're absolutely right. I think that whole Mando and Grogu thing was like, that was a financial decision, unfortunately. And I think they made the wrong call on that too. I think that you you got to lead with the creative vision, 100%. And yeah, that is a great concern, though. I mean, a huge concern for this. What does it say about the third movie? We'll see. I do love the idea, though, of which I thought was pretty brilliant. The iPad. I think her name is Leapfrog. I think that's a brilliant sort of, because we all know kids nowadays. I mean, they're always on their little iPads and stuff, playing games and stuff like that. So it makes sense for this franchise to kind of dip into that whole thing. And now the leap pad thing, or is it Leapfrog or leap pad?
I think it's leap pad. I think
leap pad. Yeah, now leap pad comes in and she's like the new toy that everyone loves, and she's the big threat to the whole thing. So I think that's a very clever concept. So we'll see. It's already starting out kind of cool for me. I kind of like that idea. So we'll kind of see.
They even have like the idea of like 50 Buzz Lightyears, if I remember that. They're 50 rogue Buzz Lightyears, which that's like the only plot point of the movie where I'm a little, unsure about. But I mean, hey, look, before Finding Nemo was released, a lot of people speculated that movie was going to be a failure. And from my understanding, even Michael Eisner thought Finding Nemo was going to be a failure. But then, Finding Nemo ended up being a big success. It won Pixar its first Oscar in the Best Animated Feature category. So you never know. I have a very open mind with this movie, and I'm actually very excited to see it. I think it'll be pretty good.
Yeah, no, well said. I'm cautiously optimistic for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now we have the juggernaut that is Moana. Okay. Moana, at least as of right now, Moana hasn't missed at all. She is she is literally the queen of Disney Plus. I mean, the watch time, the watch hours on this, the first movie at least, crazy good. This franchise is massive. I would be very surprised, and I know the live action remake thing is kind of getting old. I mean, very old. It's run its course, I think. But I think for this movie in particular, if they can get, and the casting has been pretty good on this, I think. But if they can get, if they can hit all the right notes on this, I think this movie could potentially make $1 billion. I mean, if Lilo and Stitch can do $1 billion, Moana has to hit $1 billion, right?
I know.
I think.
Yeah, I just hope that this movie, it's just true to the original story. Because oftentimes what happens with these remakes is that they sort of stray away from the original story that made the movie a success in the first place. So like perfect examples like with Pinocchio, right? Like in the Pinocchio remake, at the very end, the very last scene, Pinocchio somehow never turns into a real boy.
Oh, I hated
it's this
that.
really stupid thing where Geppetto is like, oh, I should have just accepted you that way from the start. It's like,
like, why? Weird.
That's
weird.
I know. And even like Snow White strays very far away from the, original movie storyline. And I get that obviously like these movies were made in very different time periods. So of course there's probably going to be a few changes here and there, but like, I just really hope, like, I think it'll be a success. And I haven't seen the Lilo and Stitch remake yet, but I think as long as this movie kind of stays true to like the original story and what made that story success and what that made that resonate and speak to a generation, to a whole generation, I think it'll do good and be received well.
I think so too. This is a big franchise, and I think that if you even just make this like a good, like a 6 or a 7 out of a 10, if it's like a 6 or a 7, it'll hit $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? 100%. And then we got Hexed, which I really, first of all, I love. I think, okay, one of my biggest criticisms during the last 3 years when he was running Pixar and Disney Animation was that a lot of the Disney movies sort of felt like Pixar movies, right? Like, they just did. I mean, Wreck-It Ralph felt more like a Pixar movie. Even Zootopia felt more like a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird, but this, at least from what I'm seeing, I do have one big concern though, but from what I'm seeing, feels like a very Disney animation movie with the whole magic and what is it, like witches and stuff with their magical powers.
Yeah.
Broomsticks and wands. This could be an amazing thing for Disney animation. It could also be a Disney animated Halloween IP. I mean, you can, if this movie hits a home run, you can essentially have Hexed at Oogie Boogie Bash in the parks, and they would have a bona fide Halloween animated IP they can kind of milk, during the Halloween time and all that stuff. So there's a lot of potential here. Now, our good friend Drew, the Disney dude, right? We love Drew, friend of the channel. He's awesome. Yes, Drew is the man. We love him.
He's an awesome guy.
Really cool guy. He reported today this is not a musical, though, which is interesting because usually Disney and magical stories usually have music in them. So it's not a musical, but it will have a main villain. So when he says main villain, I'm assuming that he means like it's not going to be like a twist villain. Like it's going to be like a villain from like the beginning to the end. I'm assuming that's what he's saying with that. But I don't know. Now here's the synopsis, right? It says, grab your broomsticks and wands. It's a magical new movie titled Hexed is coming to screens in 2026. As announced at D23 in August of 2025, Hex actually was Destination D23, but Hex is an original animated movie that follows an awkward teenage boy and his type A mom who find that what makes him unusual is the source of his magical powers, which will unlock a secret world of magic and turn their lives upside down. This is my one concern about this movie. I love Disney when they're Disney. I love Disney when they play into what makes Disney Disney. So, for example, Beauty and the Beast. At that time, in 1991, it was very much a Disney movie, right? Like it felt like it could sit on the shelf with Cinderella and Snow White, right? It was another version of that kind of storytelling, right? It felt classical Disney, but it was still new and fresh though at the time, right? I want that to be like, I want Hexed to be like that, or like a Tangled that feels like a Disney movie, like what Disney does best. What I don't want this to be is like a Shrek or an Onward, where it's like they take the fairy tale stuff and they try to make it hip and relevant. And I'm worried when they talk about the type A mom, that doesn't really sound very classical storybook.
It doesn't really sound like it'll be timeless.
It kind of doesn't. And I want to have an open mind, but that part right there kind of makes me feel like it's not going to be like Tangled. It's going to be more like Onward, and I'm a little worried about that. I'm still optimistic, but that does concern me. But what say you?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Moana had a Twitter joke in it, and like that's really dated now, right? Because it's not even called Twitter anymore. But wait, do they still call it tweeting? Or are you like Xing now? I never understood that.
Or
are you just posting? I don't know. It's all a mess. But anyways, but I mean, look, Moana had a Twitter joke in it, and that was like a very relevant joke. If it's like that was like it's sort of like a a joke that was meant to appeal to like current audiences. But that movie's still pretty much kicking butt, right?
Yeah.
So you never know. But I'm excited for this. If it's going to be a lot like Disney's older movies, right? Very fairy tale driven. But I completely agree with you. I just hope it doesn't feel like another Shrek or another Onward, But this is going to have a main villain in it, which that actually makes me really hopeful, man, because I feel like it's been a while since we've had a movie with like a really like good Disney villain. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%.
Like I really hope this movie, like the villain of this movie, I really hope it's like dark enough, like not too dark, obviously, not too extreme, but like dark enough where like you look at that villain and you go, oh, that's a great villain, Like I don't think it'll be as dark as the guy from Pinocchio who turns all the kids into donkeys. Oh god, that was so disturbing. The first time I watched that movie as an adult, I was like disturbed for days. I think I even had a nightmare where I turned into a donkey on Pleasure Island. But
that movie, and that's the thing about Walt. He did not stray away from going dark.
No,
I mean, Pinocchio is still one of Disney's darkest movies, and even Bambi. I mean, with the whole mother scene, all that. I mean, it's like it's crazy. But actually, credit to Michael Eisner as well. Lion King was pretty dark with that Mufasa scene. That was crazy. And Hunchback of Notre Dame, very dark movie. So they've gone dark, but I mean, we'll see. I want to see a villain. I want to see a total baddie. I wouldn't mind seeing a Maleficent kind of baddie, where it's like very, very much a villain from minute one, and very magical, so to speak, right? but just a cool Disney villain, you know? So I hope so.
Oh, yeah. So I'm assuming this isn't going to be a twist villain, right?
No, I don't think so. And I think that's what Drew the Disney Dude was kind of implying when
Hmm.
he said a main villain. I'm assuming that's what he kind of
Okay.
means, where it's going to be a baddie from beginning to end. So that's great. I think that's kind
Yeah,
of
that
cool.
is good too.
You
I
know?
think the twist villain thing, it worked at the time for like Frozen, but like I think that whole storytelling device has kind of run its course a bit.
Yeah, 100%. Now, real quick before we get out of here, we do have Gatto. Release date is June of 2027. Okay, I love the concept art, by the way. It looks really cool. But it says here, it looks like the studio is trying to reverse the stigma around black cats. In 2027, Disney Pixar will bring us heartwarming tale about a kitty named Nero who finds himself indebted to a feline mob boss, forcing him on a path of friendship and self-discovery. The movie is set in Italy, and Gatto means cat, more specifically male cat in Italian. I love this. I think it looks really cute. It sounds really cute. I don't mind with Pixar kind of having a little bit of that modern angle with the mob boss, because Pixar takes modern stuff and kind of puts a fantasy twist on it. So this feels very much in line with what Pixar kind of does. Plus, I'm half Italian, so who am I to argue with? I mean, this is great. You know what I'm saying? But what say you, Sam? You excited for Gatto?
Yeah, and this is going to be a different animation style, right? It's going to be a newer animation style, right?
I believe so. Correct.
Yeah, that makes me excited actually, because like no disrespect to like Elio or Turning Red, but like yeah, Pixar characters in those movies have like really weird teeth. Like I don't know if you looked close at their teeth, but like the second like you notice how weird Pixar like the teeth of Pixar characters look in those movies, it's like one of those things you can't really unsee. It's sort of like the weird blinking thing that happens in a lot of Pixar's earlier movies. Like they don't really blink naturally. It's like a weird, like kind of blink. That animation style wasn't terrible, but I do think it's time to sort of update that animation style. But yeah, no, I'm excited. It sounds like it's gonna be classic Pixar.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Incredibles 3 real quick?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now, when does that one come out, by the way?
I think it comes out. I can't remember when it comes out. But I don't think they've announced that one yet.
I don't think so either. I remember they announced the movie at D23 a year ago, and the whole arena erupted. I mean, because The Incredibles is a franchise that people want more sequels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. The thing about Incredibles 3, and I'm very optimistic for this movie actually. So from my understanding, Brad Bird is not writing it. From my understanding, he is writing it, but he's just not directing. It's Peter Sohn who's directing it, right?
Correct. And initially it was gonna be Brad Bird, right? And then I think he backed out, and now it's Peter Sohn. So,
which I don't think he's a bad director. I mean, Elemental was a great movie, and even The Good Dinosaur, I thought that was a great movie too. It sounds like Brad Bird was a real mentor to Peter Sohn.
yeah.
So yeah, I bet this will be a great movie. I just hope it's like dark, and not like obviously too dark, too extreme, but like I think it would be, because like, have you seen all the 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies?
Yes.
So like that's a really great trilogy, right? Because the first Guardians movie has a great balance between like being funny and dark, and then like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is like basically all funny and not that dark at all. It doesn't really have a lot of weight to it. But then like Guardians 3 totally flips the scale, right? Like it's like a lot of dark moments in that movie, and it has its funnier moments, but definitely more dark than funny. So I feel like, and the Incredibles 1 and 2 is very similar to Guardians 1 and 2, in my opinion, right? Like Incredibles 1 has the perfect balance of being funny and dark, but like Incredibles 1 felt a little too funny for me. It wasn't a bad movie per se, but like I hope they really not get too dark, obviously, not too extreme, but like I really hope they take like a darker path and really like give us some weight with the story. Like I think a great villain, and I don't want to get too dark here, but I think like a great villain for Incredibles 3 would be someone who like doesn't like insurance companies at all and just wants to see them completely destroyed. Because remember in the first Incredibles, like what's his name? The InsureCare CEO. I can't remember his name. I think it was Gilbert Hugh, I think, right? Like we see like how evil the insurance companies really are in Incredibles 1. So maybe like the story in Incredibles 3 is something kind of darker like that. How you have this really like sick, dark villain who's going after all these big insurance companies and, kind of talking sense to them. I don't know. That sounds more like an anti-hero story than like an actual villain. But
Yeah, well,
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Something that's like kind of dark, and
No, I agree with you. I want to see that as well. And I think that this franchise has a lot of potential with like secondary characters and like spin-off movies, right? Because you have a superhero theme, and we've seen it before with superhero movies, right? Where there's all these characters, and then the secondary character will get like their own movie and shit like that, right? So I could see that with here, like if they can have like a character, like a standout, like secondary character in The Incredibles 3, and then you can take that character and give that character its own movie and kind of have like an Incredibles like cinematic universe almost.
Yeah.
Be pretty sick. You know what I'm saying? I think it'd be pretty
and
fun.
And then maybe you can even dive into like some of like the heroes like backstories, like the ones before Syndrome murdered them all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love speaking of the first movie though, I do love the cameo of Frank and Ollie, the duo from the Nine Old Men, Waltz.
Oh wait, that's them at the end of the battle, right? Like
yeah,
staying there. Oh, I think I know you're referring to.
That's them.
That's pretty cool, actually. I did not know that.
That is them. Yeah, I love that. I love that they put that in there. So I want to see. It'd be kind of cool if they had a little cameo in there. Maybe I don't know, like another Nine Old Men or something like that. Like Ward Kimball.
Are any of them still alive?
No, unfortunately not. Yeah, unfortunately they're all gone. But
maybe they could put someone like Eric Goldberg or someone else who is just as influential in Disney's animation history.
Absolutely. Or what else would be kind of cool is if they took some of the Darkwing Duck villains, and like Bushroot or like Megavolt, and they're like in the background, like you got to pick them out, but they're like in there. That'd be kind of sick.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like a little.
I actually have not seen Darkwing Duck. Huge confession. It's a sin. I've seen the reboot DuckTales, so I know who Darkwing Duck is, but I never sat down and watched the show.
Oh,
but Sam, it's on my list.
Okay, it's on your list. No, you definitely have to watch. It's a great show. Absolute great show. The Disney afternoon stuff all of those shows are fantastic, but Darkwing is really dope.
Does Jim Cummings voice Darkwing Duck in that?
He does, yeah.
That's cool. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, no, it has a DuckTales vibe kind of, but it's a darker DuckTales, and that's what I always loved about it. It's pretty sick. So, but Sam, it's always fun having you on, brother. We'll have you on again very, very soon. I want to get you on and talk and do like a park show. This was not really park specific, park driven. But I want to get you on very soon. We'll do some park talk together. It's been kind of slow on the park news lately, right? But we'll get you back on for that. But before we go, before we close it out, I do want to share a couple things. We have a friend of the channel, Jared from Capture the Magic, and he's always here on the channel. Make sure you check him out. Jared, Capture the Magic, great friend, content creator. He's on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to him. I will be linking it down below. But anyway, if you use OG55 as your promo code, you will get 10% off of like all these great nerdy shirts. So yeah, we're all nerds here, right? So why not wear a nerdy shirt and show your nerdiness? So yeah, right, exactly. So 10% off on your purchase if you use OG55 as a promo code. Now, we also do have an amazing outro here on OG55 done by the one and only and very lovely Miss Mimi Fan. She is awesome. She does a lot of great content. She goes to all these different food places, whether it be Vietnamese places, Korean barbecue. This is a food festival in Los Angeles. Chicken Skin. You can't go wrong with Chicken Skin, you know what I'm saying? So really great gal. And if you're looking for some different kinds of food or in the LA area or OC area, make sure you follow Mimi Fan on Instagram. She is also on YouTube. I'll be linking her information also in the description below. And that steak right there looks really thick and hot. I love it.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Looks very, very good. But Sam, it is awesome having you on the channel, brother. If you can let everybody know where they can find you.
Yep. Thank you so much again for having me on. You can find me at SamChat21 on X, formerly known as Twitter. And you can also find me at SamChat Productions on all lowercase no spaces on Instagram.
There he is. Make sure you follow this man. He's a friend of OG55. We love Sam. Make sure you show him all the love. Everyone, comment down below with all your thoughts on everything we discussed today. Josh Giamaro, is he going to be the big daddy? The big daddy running the whole company, or no? It's looking like probably the case, but we'll see. But we'd like to hear everyone's opinion down below. Also, the Disney movie slate for the end of this year and into 2026. What are your thoughts on that? Some predictions, box office, all that good stuff. We would love to hear from you. And until the next time, see you later.
Thank you so much for watching OG55. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and become a member today.